today we have a very interesting masterclass, if I must say. I would probably say this is one of the areas that I struggled with, and I probably still struggle with it right now. You know, every day you have to learn something new. So we're going to kickstart. I'm going to kickstart all the other day, and we're going to go straight into Entrepreneurship 101. So in today's masterclass, what should you expect to learn? You should learn how to access finance, how to raise capital, and the difference between debt and equity. So we've got an amazing lineup of guest speakers from Charles Odi, Mr. Charles, who is the CEO of SME 100 Africa, his executive director. Now, SME 100 Africa are actually partners with Bookings Africa. They're affiliate partners, and later on, I will be giving you more information about our partnership. But he's also a member of the advisory board of the 100 Women NG. He's an entrepreneur, an author, a small business advocate. So if you are a freelancer or you're thinking of starting out a new business, he's definitely someone that you should reach out to. He's also an advertising practitioner, and he's got a lot of experience in finance, business administration, business development, organization development, and so much more. He's a wealth of knowledge, and he's going to be with us the whole entire week, actually. And after Charles, we're going to have my fellow portfolio company sister. So what that means is the investment company that invested in Bookings Africa is called the Platform Capital. If you watched yesterday's masterclass, the first speaker, Dr. Kwamile, is actually my strategy director, and he's a partner of the venture capitalist firm. So they're the guys that actually gave me money. They invested in Bookings Africa. And they're also the same guys that invested in Ifedurosimi Eti's business. She's raised about $1 million of fund for women. And she's also got she's a managing partner for AGS Tribe. She's an author, entrepreneur, young global leader with about 10 years of management and leadership, and working everywhere from fashion, marketing, manufacturing. And she's got the AGS Tribe, which I'm also a part of. It's a social enterprise created to democratize opportunities for entrepreneurs and nonprofits in Africa. So AGS Tribe is also a platform that brings female entrepreneurs together across border and forms relationships, and the aim is to transform Africa. Most recently, Ife was appointed as a youth advisory group member for Solutions for Youth Employment, and she's actually written a book. Precious said she can't hear me. Could you type a message in the group if you guys can hear me at all? Let me know. I'll just wait for a few seconds just to see if you guys can hear me. Okay, great. So Precious, maybe you need to turn on your microphone so that you can hear me clearly. So where was I? Ife has actually written a book specifically talking about how to access grants. So you know you're definitely going to learn a lot from her. So during today's session, she's specifically going to let you know a variety of things about how to access grants. And finally, our last speaker is Olakunle Ajila, who has over 6 years in SME banking. SME is small, medium enterprise banking, and he's currently a product manager of emerging businesses at Access Bank. Access Bank are also partners with Bookings Africa. So later on, I'll also let you know a bit more about that partnership. So he is responsible for developing and implementing strategic partnerships beyond banking and initiatives that enable and support the growth of MSMEs. MSMEs are micro, small, medium enterprise. So when you're talking about, there's a difference between a micro business, a small business, and a medium-sized business. Micro tends to be a business that's like 1 to 3 people. So normally, if you're just working by yourself and you have an assistant, in the finance world, you are an MSME. And I believe that a lot of us entrepreneurs fall in either MSM, micro or small category. Am I right? Okay, so he's got some skill sets that I find very interesting, including SME financing, business development, strategy, marketing, customer service, data analytics, training, and small business capacity building. So Olakunle Ajila from Access Bank will be here a little bit later on. So we're going to have Charles speak first, Ife second, and then Olakunle from Access Bank, letting you know the ways that Access Bank can specifically support MSMEs. Now, just to let you guys know, every day, because it's a 5-day course, Monday through to Friday, we are on day 2 today. So every day we will be sending out new Zoom links at 3 p.m. So make sure you check your mail daily from 3 o'clock. And if you do enjoy it, please, please, please refer it to a friend. It's absolutely free. We have a bit of some house rules as well, which is please mute yourself and also turn off your cameras. I know you're all beautiful, but yeah, we don't, or you, I don't know, you might not have even brushed your hair today, you know? So I think we'll rather just keep the screens empty for now. We will be recording this as well, and we're going to be sending it out on our YouTube channel, so you don't necessarily want a picture of yourself laying in bed or whatever you're doing, or a video of yourself. I would also like you to send questions ahead of time. So I've got a couple of questions already on Instagram where people have asked specifically to do with this topic. If you have any questions about this topic or tomorrow's topic, every day we just always ask you to go on our Instagram page. When we post up the every morning around 9 a.m. on the Bookings Africa Instagram page, we post up the confirmed speakers for that day. So if you have any questions, once that post goes up on the Bookings Africa Instagram page or on our Twitter page or Facebook, please feel free to send your questions, and then we can definitely address everyone and get all your questions answered. Remember, once again, complete slides from each session will be shared with you at the end of the course. And at the end of each speaker, we're going to have a quick fire session. And after all the 3 speakers, then I will then let you know for about 30 minutes. I will then speak about my personal journey, about how I raised my pre-seed round of about $300,000 and what my next goal is for my seed round. So after the 3 speakers, please stay with us, because then I will also be giving you that 30 minutes info about myself, and then I'll also be taking questions as well. And then daily, we will be sending you a survey. Just if you could please also check your emails after the end of this session. That way we can always make sure that tomorrow's session will even be better. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Charles. OD, Charles, are you there? If you could please turn on your microphone, or I will do it for you.
Yes, I am. Yeah.
Fantastic. How are you doing today?
I'm very well, thank you.
Is it possible to make your, are you
Can
on
you
your
hear
phone?
me?
Yes, I can. Is it possible to make your screen,
Yes, yeah, this way?
Yes, there we go, perfect. Your screen was landscape and I wanted it portrait. All right, so I've done a brief introduction of yourself. Please feel free to highlight anything that I may have missed, and let's go straight into the what exactly and how exactly you believe is the best way for MSMEs to raise finance. And of course, there are a few other questions that I will ask you after that, but you've got about 20 minutes. The floor is yours.
Okay, all right, thank you so much, Fadi. Let me know if you can hear me in the group. Hi, everyone.
I can hear you. Let me ask.
Okay. Oh, right. So I can see some messages.
Hi, we are all here.
Fab. Okay.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So my name is Charles.
Okay, that's fine. All right. Thank you, everybody.
Okay.
I'm muting all of you again now. Thanks. Oh, Charles.
We can hear you right now.
Okay, wait a minute. Charles. Hello, Charles.
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, sure.
Right. Okay. So I founded this social enterprise after working for a couple of years, and it's basically just to help every young entrepreneur succeed, regardless of your economic background. So basically, we're going to go into this, and I find this very interesting because almost every time when I get to speak to young entrepreneurs, half the time when you ask what their challenge is, most of them tell you that challenge is capital. I remember one time I sat down with one of the small business owners, and we try to identify what exactly this small business owner needs the money for. And he at the time wanted 10 million naira, and by the time we were done, we found out that what he actually needed was just about 100,000 naira to start. While I understand that access to finance or capital is a major issue, for many other people, it's just in their heads and holding them back from starting and doing amazing things. So I'm going to be talking to you for 20 minutes, like Faria said, and I'm going to go straight right into it. These are very, very, very uncertain times, with the cataclysmic pandemic and a couple of things that are happening across the world. I don't know if you guys are following the global news to see the drop in the oil price, and we're seeing a couple of things happen. Right now is a time where small business owners will be looking for financing. Others who have been affected by this pandemic and others who want to start businesses will need financing for their enterprises. Now, I say to small business owners, the first thing you want to actually start to do is, start to save for the business that you want to start. So my first point is bootstrapping. Bootstrapping basically is just you actually saving capital. This is the absence of external capital. This is money that you have saved up for whatever enterprise it is that you want to start. So for instance, a lady who wants to be a makeup artist, one of the things that you want to do is learn the skill, to understand how to do makeup, different type of makeups, and also to buy some products. So you can put together, if you'd say, to actually acquire the skill, going to like a brick and mortar makeup school will cost maybe like 50,000 naira, and a startup kit will cost maybe like 70,000 naira. That's in total is like 120,000 naira. What you can start to do from where you are, either as a student or as an employee, is try to save up this money by yourself. Look at this money, look at your expenses and see how much money you can put away, in actualizing this goal of yours. And, while I encourage more people to bootstrap, because you have fundamentally a lot of control over the business that you start, because it's your money, it's your savings. I also say to them that, you should also reach out for experienced people who have done very similar to what you're about to do, or something that you're actually doing, and have them, listen to them, have them mentor you, and which is why we have some platforms like SM1 Africa, and why we're having this training platform with Bookings Africa. So the first point is bootstrapping. That is saving money from your own savings, your own resources to actually start your business. The second is family and friends. Now, family and friends are people that already know you, people who happen to be in your neighborhood, people who can vouch for you, who know you to a certain degree. Now, if you want to start a business today, and let's say you want to start like a logistic business, inevitably you need capital. You need money to buy the delivery bikes, the delivery vans. You need money to buy some software that you help with your business. And one of the things that you actually want to do is find out from your family and friends how much they can help with, financing this business that you have, especially if your savings from bootstrapping, the first thing we spoke about, if your savings is not sufficient enough to cater for this. And then you will, talk to them, try to, convince them, because they know you to a certain degree. It might not be as tough as trying to raise money from outsiders or strangers. So you try to convince them as to why, you want to start this business, and some of them just want to see how you can pay back and want to see that you're not going to use the money. They're going to actually use the money for what you say you use it for. And then so you can reach out to them, and these people can actually help you with the financing that you need to start your business. But on the flip side, they might not be able to advise you like venture capitalists or private equity firms would. And so by advice, I mean, for instance, your father might have the money to support what it is that you want to do in terms of capital, but might not have the technical know-how and might not have other resources to support what it is that you're trying to do. Your father might probably be in like public service, like my father was, or in some other field, I might not have the technical know-how. So that's just the downside of raising money from family and friends. They might necessarily not have the technical know-how to support you with what it is that you're trying to do. So having said that, the next place that you can raise money from is actually bank loans. So bank loans basically is going to a bank and trying to access some money from the bank and agree to the interest rate that the bank has put in place for whatever industry that you're going into. Now I understand that the banks have different um, sectors that they cater for. There's some funding for people in like the creative industry. There's some funding for some other people in like technology, and the banks actually have different other um, funds, and sometimes the interest rate differ from sector to sector. Now, what happens with the bank loan is that you go to them, you try to meet their criteria, and then you agree with the interest rate that they have for you. But I say to you, small businesses, MSMEs and MSMEs, MSMEs and SMEs, most times you do not stand a chance with the banks to get a funding from them. Some members of my team took out some time to carry out an experiment, and they went to a nearby bank. I'm not going to call the name of the bank now, and they tried, to give an explanation as to what business they are in and try to access a bank loan. And it was cumbersome for them because the bank was asking for them to bring a couple of things that these small business owners necessarily do not have access to. So the bank had asked them to get a guarantor, who is like in a public service with level 12 and above, that asked them if they have a landed property. Now, this is not a land, right? They asking if they have like a property, like a house, a built house, and if they can, bring that property for collateral. So for small businesses, many of you do not have access to, some of you haven't even built your own houses yet, and you probably do not have access to those kind of people who can guarantee you in public service in the high levels in public service. But others actually even have access. Some other banks actually have some non-collateral loans that you can access. But for you who's thinking that you've gone to the bank and the bank has turned you down, I will indulge you to apply bootstrapping and look out to family and friends and the other things that I have mentioned for you here, that I will mention for you here. The fourth thing that I have here is grants, awards, and match funding. Now I'm going to explain grants, awards, and match funding. But for grants, we have Ife, who's coming up in the later part of this. Ife will do an amazing job. She's written a book on how to access grants, and she will address that. But I'm just going to tell you what grants is. Grant is money that you access to build your enterprise, right? Now, the difference between a grant and a loan is that a loan you've got to have to pay back, and you've got to have to pay back with interest. But for grant, you necessarily don't have to pay back, but there's some other costs to it. So you have to, invest some time in actually itemizing what it is that you want that grant for. And when you eventually win the grant, you have to go under a lot of scrutiny. And sometimes the grants are in phases. So for instance, if you win a grant for like 10,000 US dollars, the grants can be broken down into 4 stages. So 2005 in each stage, and up until you meet the goal for the first stage, that's only when you can unlock the funds for the next stage. So the grants and the loan are access to the opportunities where you get financing, but the difference with the grant level of work that you've done, and you have to show how sometimes the project that you're trying to pull out will be sustainable after you execute, and other times they just need to see that you know what you're doing, and then you unlock the grant. But for awards, so exactly very similar. So awards mean like you win a prize. For instance, we have this award called the Nigeria's Under 25 Awards, where we go around Nigeria looking for young people under the age of 25 who are doing phenomenal things and contributing to social economic development in Nigeria. and then we award them, and sometimes it comes with some prize money. So for that category, we go through what it is that they've done, and we see that they merit the fund, and then we now unlock the funding to them in terms of prize money. Match funding is also another amazing access to finance. Only that match funding, sometimes I give you an example. One time I was working with a small business owner. We were trying to get access to funds, and this international organization we were working with wanted us to get a consultant. And the consultant fee was about, I think it was about 5K US, right? And the small business owner at the time could not afford the 5K US. So the international organization has said, okay, come up with a certain amount of money and we'll match that funding just so that we can afford this consultant to help you, get the financing that you need. So that's how match funding, operates. It's like matching what exactly you have or some project that you would like to do. Now, angel investors and venture capitalists, that's another very amazing way of raising funding. But right now, I say to a couple of people, especially in this COVID-19 period, for angel capitalists, for angel investors and venture capitalists, they come into your business, they infuse some kind of funds. But unlike family and friends, the angel investors and venture capitalists actually help you with some other kind of resources. So they help you with either government regulation, they help you with advisory, like Fadi was saying earlier, they help you with like strategy, and they just provide some support for you so that you can actually excel at what it is that you're trying to do. Now, I say to business owners that you don't want to tilt towards venture capitalists right now, because remember that venture capitalists actually do a lot of valuation, and for valuation right now, the power is with the venture capital, because they are the ones that will evaluate you right now, especially because your business model has been disrupted with COVID-19. And then unless you can be able to establish a good case as to how you can fund your business, or as to how you have everything figured out, that's only when that you can have like a good playing ground with the venture capital. If not, they'll be the ones to evaluate the company right now, and then they have the power, to actually help with the valuation. So venture capitalists and angel investors, but the difference between a venture capital firm and an angel investment firm is angels actually come at the initial stage, that's at the pre-seed stage of your venture. So they come in the beginning, and they actually help you with funding at the initial stage. And some of them, especially in Nigeria, are in your business for about 5 to 7 years, and then you can buy them out. So sometimes they actually want about 3x of the money that they put in. So for instance, if they put in like 100,000 naira in your venture, in actually funding your venture, so they want to get maybe like about 300,000 in like 5 or 7 years. But with venture capitalists actually want 10x. So they want like 10 times what they put in, and sometimes they want they stay as long as 7 to 10 years. And the good thing about venture capitalists is that they come with a lot of expertise. So they help with strategy, they help with marketing, they help with government regulations, and they help with different other things that you can help, that you actually need to succeed. Unlike when you go to family and friends who necessarily do not have the expertise. So that is that about angel investors and venture capital. Okay, so I'm going to take questions at the end of this. I'm just going to run through my list. I have like 2 more, and then we'll take some questions. Now I have here crowdfunding. Crowdfunding is another way that you can raise capital for your business. Now, so for crowdfunding, this is raising a certain amount of money from different other people, and you can crowdfund in terms of equity, and you can crowdfund in terms of debt. Equity means that these people actually have some investment in your business. They take up some shares in your business for the certain amount of money that you need. And debt means that they give you this money. They don't take shares, but they might take shares, but you definitely have to pay back that money that you're trying to raise. Now, I want you to understand that for crowdfunding, a lot of crowdfunding right now is regulated. Before now we used to crowdfund via the internet. So in the US you have GoFundMe. It is not very easy for you to crowdfund for a business idea. You can crowdfund for like a social cause. Like a lot of people are crowdfunding right now. I don't know if you heard of Feed Ikoyi. It's like it's a social cause helping to feed people who live in Ikoyi, so that the hungry people can actually get food, and they don't necessarily get hungry and start causing violence in the Ikoyi environment. So a couple of people, it's easier to crowdfund for those kind of causes, but it's harder to crowdfund for businesses online, because at that point people look at it like, why do I have to give you money for your business without getting anything in return? So at this point, they actually now help you to crowdfund. There are some sites that I can share some links of some sites that you can go to crowdfund, and then regulations are put in place for every money that you earn, how much the person gets, either they get back interest or they get back their money. In Nigeria, we have a lot of raising money is security. So we have a commission called the Security and Exchange Commission in Nigeria, who have actually even come together to put out some rules with crowdfunding. So when you take people's money, which is like security, you give them something in exchange, and then they want to see to it that you actually even are playing according to the rules of crowdfunding. So that you don't just raise money and use the money for something else, or raise money and tomorrow you close down, and they want to make sure that's not a Ponzi scheme.
Mm-hmm.
I have just one more point before I throw it over to Friday. This is something that I call customer vendor. Now listen to me, customer vendor is an amazing way that you can raise funding as well. So for some people, some of the businesses that you want to start, you only just need money from someone who can afford it. I say to small businesses, try to look for somebody who's in need of the product or service that you offer, who can afford it at a certain price and at a particular time. So I say to you again, look for somebody who's in need of the product or service that you offer, who can afford it at a particular price and at a particular time. So I might need the product or service that you offer. I can afford it, but I might not be able to afford it right now, right? Because I have priorities, especially in this COVID-19 period, etc., etc. Now, so for this customer vendor relationship, just look for somebody who can afford this thing that you offer, who can pay this amount of money, and who can pay right now. So what you do is you can reach out to the person. The person can be a family or a friend, and say to the person that, hey, I can help you get this car, for instance. All you need to do is to advance me. Give me, if the car is worth like 100,000 naira, give me like 70,000 naira. I will help you get this car. And when the car comes, then only you pay the 30%, which is like 30,000 naira. And then when you get the money, in that 10,000 naira, 100,000 naira, you actually marked it up so much so that you can actually even make some money for yourself. And then you take the money, do the business. When the business comes, you get the profits, and you're in business already. You started, and you necessarily do not have to raise money from the bank. You necessarily do not have to talk to your to venture capitalists. You do not raise money from family and friends. You just reach out to somebody who was in need of this product and service that you needed at the time, and then you're able to convince the person, give you an advance fee, and then you're able to run the business. So I hope I did not shoot my 20 minutes.
That's just fine. Thank you very much. So I'm going to just put out a message that the quick fire round starts now. I do already have a couple of questions in the pipeline. So fire round. Hi, could you please mute yourself, please? Okay, so we do have a message earlier on. I'm just scrolling up to get it. 1 second. It had to do about almost like your IP, your propriety. So I can't find it exactly, but it was something like, how do you protect yourself from investors? Okay, from Fatumbi Solomon, please, how can we deal with the theft of ideas while sourcing for investors?
So I say that again, how can you do with what?
how can we deal with the theft of ideas whilst sourcing for investors?
Effective ideas. I'm not sure I understand what you mean by effective
How
ideas.
can we stop people from stealing our ideas
Oh,
whilst we're
theft.
sourcing? Theft, yes, theft.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So I say to a lot of businesses, a lot of times, like ideas are like a dime a dozen, right? I don't know if this happens to you. You might have an idea, and then it's just in your head, and then you just be driving down the road like 2, 3 months later, and you just see that someone's actually executing the idea that you had in your head,
Yep.
and you're like, what? What? How did this person hear? How did this person, the person was not in your room. The person did not have access to your notes. So ideas are a dime a dozen. As the ideas have come to you and come to your mind, other people are also thinking, and the ideas have come to the people's mind as well. So when you're pitching for ideas, you're pitching for funding. I say to people that, someone might have the same idea that you do, but the difference in the person's ideas and yours will just be basically how they plan to execute, and how they plan to roll out the ideas. So in pitching your idea, many times I'd say to a lot of businesses, do not, there's some trade secrets. Don't give out a lot of your trade secrets. Let the trade secrets remain with you, but just pitch the fundamental part of how it will work and answer questions as to how you want it to, and how you want to see return on investment. So I give you another example. A small business in my community, the SM100 Africa community, was doing a lot of business in the northern part of Nigeria, and they went there to get hibiscus leaves like zobo, and they were exporting the zobo to other parts of the world, like Mexico, Latvia, etc. Now, a lot of people are doing a lot of export business in Nigeria, but they had their own trade secret. They had their customers, they had their modus operandi, how they source for this product, and how they actually execute it. So while they were pitching for funding, they did not at any point divulge their trade secret. They just spoke about the business and surface level, and they were able to answer questions about the business intelligently because they had some skin in the game, which is what a lot of investors would like to see, especially those in VC, PE, and maybe your family and friends. They want to know sometimes how much skin in the game you have or what you've done for your business. So I say to you, sometimes you might not be able to control the fundamentals, which is what your idea is about and what you want to achieve, especially because you're talking and you're pitching and there are a couple of people in the room. But don't not pitch your trade secret. But other times, you are given some agreements to sign to say, okay, the people say, oh, we're not going to use this idea for a certain amount of time, and this is not going to be executed by anybody in the team. So that's how I think you go.
So the feedback that I would give you, Fatumbi Solomon, is number one, when you say whilst sourcing for investors, maybe you're trying to see if your product or your service, if people need it. So you actually have to speak to a few customers to say, hey, I want to do this. So my thing is, that is where the business model, if you listened to, if you were in yesterday's class, that is why it's important to have a business model. What's the difference between British Airways and Virgin Atlantic? They're both planes. They both go to London. They both have seats. They both have business class. But why would some people say, nope, I'm a Virgin Atlantic. I must fly BA. There's some people that die hard, they must fly BA. So then it's a stickiness. Why will somebody come to you? Why would you choose, I don't know, let's say Access Bank? Why would you choose Access Bank over another bank? Or why would you open this bank or buy another bank? So it's what you're now offering. Why would you people have, with everybody, whether you're a makeup artist or fashion designer, you might have the same skill set, but how are you speaking to your customers? How are you attracting them? What is your route to market? How are you identifying your consumers? So all of that is your business model that has to go into the business plan. And that is, I think, what you do not need to share with potential customers if you're just asking, if you're just trying to share your ideas around to see if it's a viable product. Now, if you are contacting investors, one, you can either ask them to sign an NDA, non-disclosure document. That's number one. But the thing is, most investors, it is their job to hear pitches. It is their job to hear ideas. So it's actually counterintuitive if you're saying that, oh, I don't want to share my idea with you before you sign this, they might just not have the physical time to go ahead and start signing documents before you pitch. Or for example, you might see an investor in the lift, or you just bump into them at a petrol station and you just need to pitch. You're not going to say, oh, I want to pitch to you, but let me go get my paperwork. You're not going to go and do that. So it's all about giving them the plan, which is why you need to know what your elevator pitch is, what exactly do they want to hear, get their interest. And once they say, yes, I'm interested in this, let's talk more, then you can divulge the whole business plan as to how you're going to make money and what your barriers for other competitors to come into the same market as you. These are all the things that investors want to know. So that is what makes you stand out. A couple more questions before we move over to Ife very quickly. Sandra Augusto says, are there any investors for business which do not need funds, but other forms of investments like contracts? Are there any investors for businesses which do not need funds, but they need... So you just need them to be your clients. You need them to source you clients. I think for me, that is an interesting way to go at it, because if I know, for example, I want to go into construction, and then I go and partner up with, I go and speak to somebody that makes cement, and the owner, and I say, do you want to be my business partner? However, I don't want you to give me money. What I want you to do is give me free cement, and you will get 10% of my business. So you can negotiate like that as well. So you can actually use the value that the investor has. Investors bring variety of value, and it's not just funding. I will tell you that if you're going to go for an investor and the only thing that they're bringing is funding, run. They need to bring more value than that. Otherwise, if you just need money, then go to a bank. But if you want somebody to add value to your business, so to punch in the right direction, help you out with contacts, help you out with networking, help you out with, I don't know, whatever your issues are with your business, you need people that can advise you. Maybe it comes to your HR issues or your legal issues, your accounting issues. You need people that can add more value beyond just, here's the money that you need. What is the difference between crowdfunding and funding from family and friends if you are paying back?
Okay, so family and friends, there are different examples. With family and friends, you don't necessarily, these people know you actually. With crowdfunding, they don't know you, right? With family and friends, you reach out to them, you can convince them to pay you. And with family and friends, sometimes you have to pay back. Most times you have to pay back. With crowdfunding, you have to pay back as well. But the difference with crowdfunding is that sometimes if you're crowdfunding on the internet, you're crowdfunding from a lot of people. And then all these people now, if it's a good crowdfunding site, the good crowdfunding site are taking care of the paperwork, so they know what each person, depending on how much you put, what comes back to you in terms of security. But with family and friends, sometimes you don't have to via technology. You just go to them and then you pitch and they give you the money. Well, and they're not really regulated. But with crowdfunding, especially in Nigeria, we have a commission called the Security and Exchange Commission, and they regulate all the activities for you to raise funding through crowdfunding. And with family and friends, is very, very informal.
Awesome. Okay, so it's 5:42 to be exact. I've got a few more questions that I will reach out and answer to you guys at the end of the session. Can you see the chats, Charles? Can you see the group chat? Can you see the questions that people are asking when you open the group chat? So maybe you can answer them.
Right.
So people are asking, I've had a couple of people that just want to know what's the difference between angel investors and venture capitalists. So maybe you could just type that up. Angel investors, venture capitalists, what exactly is the difference? Other people said, do you advise an entrepreneur to start their business with a loan at the beginning? We can take that question later on. And then please assist to expatiate more on debt funds. So when people say debt versus equity, debt literally just means getting a loan. And it's like a way of getting a loan in the business. And then without giving away equity. Equity is what the business is worth. So like, you own 100% of the business, and you say for 100,000 naira, that's worth 10% of my business, so I'm going to give you that instead, and then that is equity. So you're giving the person equity in your business. So those are the two different ways that you can the basic ways that you can think about debt and equity. So Charles, feel free to just and Charles has put up his email as well, charlescenter@yahoo.com. But also, Charles, I think it would be nice, because in our minutes, if you can actually write the answers here, or share, if anybody emails you, share those emails with me, please, so that when we're putting in the minutes, we could also add that, because you never know who else might have been thinking of the same question or would like that answer. All right, so let's move straight on to our second guest of the day. Thank you guys very much. Charles, you are a star. I appreciate it. If you are there, Phil, you should be able to unmute yourself if you're there. Durosimi Eti, fantastic. How are you doing?
I'm fine. Hi, Fadi. Hi, Charles. Hi, everyone.
Hi, what's up?
Thanks for coming. Hi. Thanks for tuning in, guys.
No problem. So I've done a quick brief on you already. Were you here from the beginning?
Yeah, I was here from the beginning.
Okay, so I've already sung all your praises. You're an author, entrepreneur, young global leader. You've just got signed up for the youth group member for Solutions for Youth Employment. And of course, you've got a fantastic book that you wrote specifically discussing access and grants. So the next 15-20 minutes are all yours. Please let us know how to access grants. Where do you find it? What businesses grants are usually looking for? I heard the application process is like trying to apply to go to heaven or something. So how do you actually get picked? How do you get picked to receive these grants?
Okay, thank you, Friday. So what I actually wanted to discuss here was actually the application process, because I think that's what is important, to everyone and what everyone needs to know. I also can get information about where these grants opportunities are. So the first thing, what is grant? What is a grant? So I heard Charles' definition, but I'd just like to add. So it's a non-payable fund or product that's given to an individual or a company for a specific purpose. Most people who give out grants are people who are looking for impact. Some people are philanthropists, some people are, non-profits that are looking to solve a particular problem. So that's why people actually give these grants. So grants are also different from sponsorship. So you can get money from a company to sponsor your project, but it's different from a grant, even if it still comes the same way. Most grants, there's some grant applications that they put out a call for application, and they say, oh, we're looking to give out money or funding to an organization who is looking to solve issues that have to do with education, for example. And they just put it out there. They say, okay, we want to give it to 5 people, and we have $100,000 to share within the 5 people. So some people do that. Some other organizations do it in a way where they ask you specific questions. So they list out all the questions. I think I prefer the ones that actually ask you the questions so that you don't miss anything. But in case there's some organizations that don't ask these questions, there's some things that you definitely need to put in your application form. So I'll just go through all of these things. So now the first thing I'll talk about is the elements of a successful grant application. You need to talk about the background of the organization. Nobody knows you. So imagine you apply for something and thousands of other people also apply for the same thing. So you need to, write something good about your application. What's the background of, how did you guys start? What's your story? You need to ensure that, you put like a paragraph or 2 about that. And sometimes they might give you a word count, and sometimes they don't. If they don't give you a word count, you can put it in 2 paragraphs. Basically talking about your background and your like professional experiences, the objectives. So what are the objectives of that project? What are you trying to solve? So if somebody is trying to solve a problem in agriculture and you are trying to solve a problem in education, it makes no sense for you to apply for that. Your goals are overlapping. So which is why the objectives of what you're trying to solve is very, very important in that application form. Also, we need to talk about your the financial health of the organization. So if you're a nonprofit or even if you're a non-profit, you still have to keep your books. If you're a for-profit organization, obviously you have to keep your books, so hopefully you'll have to keep your books. So you talk about your historicals, and you also talk about your projections. And you should also talk, another thing you should talk about is your budget. So you're asking them for £10,000, for example. What are you going to use? So you have to itemize what exactly each pound is going to go to. You have to itemize everything, because these are the things they'll look at. If you don't tell them, if you just say, oh, I want $10,000 because I want to buy because I just want to do an educational project in so and so community, it's not going to make sense. So you say, okay, firstly, I want to buy a generator. Next, I want to buy books, and I want to pay some of the volunteers. Like I want to give them an honorarium. You need to itemize all those things in your budget for your application. And this is also different from the financial health of the organization. Like I said, financial health has to do with your historicals. So show them what exactly you've done so far in terms of your revenue and all of that. Some people are interested in that information. In fact, everybody's interested in that information, because they need to know that your organization is sustainable. And if whether or not you get that money, you will still be able to, you're passionate enough and you still be able to go on, with that project. Also, your project description, explain what the project is about. What are you trying to achieve? It's similar to your objectives, but now you're going to go more in depth when you're talking about the description of that project. Talk about your monitoring and evaluation plan. Very key. A lot of people don't know how to write a monitoring and evaluation plan. You have to put who's responsible for what, whether you have volunteers or not. And this is peculiar to nonprofits. Nonprofits get volunteers for most of their projects. But for the regular SMEs, you need to write down and itemize who exactly is going to do what, how are you going to monitor what they say they're going to do, how are you going to check that what they say they're going to do is what they've actually done. So all that needs to be put in place when you're applying for that grant, so that at the end of when they give you the money, they can checkmate it to say, okay, you said you were going to do this, and you have the right hands and you're capable to actually execute some of these things that you said that you're going to do. Another thing is your project partners. Imagine you're doing a project and you have somebody like Google as a partner. So Google doesn't have to give you money. So let's say Google is bringing like digital skills training, for example. If you're applying for a grant, maybe for a grant with like a McKinsey or a Tenable Foundation or any of all these organizations that give out grants, if they see that, okay, Google is partnering with you, then they'll look at you as if, okay, this person actually knows what they're doing. If a Google can back them up, then that means they know what they're doing. And you don't have to always have big names. So even if you have small organizations or volunteers or people who are helping you execute that project, or other SMEs like you, it's important you put it there, because community participation is also important for most people that are giving out grants. If they see that you have community participation, it's easier for them to understand that what you're actually doing is actually a need. So it's very important for you to highlight that in your project. Also, the sustainability of that project, they need to know that it's sustainable. Like I said earlier, everybody wants to know that whether or not you get the money, you will still continue that project. And if the money they give you finishes, what are you going to do about raising money? So some people, whenever they're running projects, feel like they need to do it for free. It's not everything that needs to be for free. You can do a very, very small amount that you can charge. This thing is going to be sustainable. I don't say no project anyway. Where I used to work before, we're working on the project, and we didn't build it actually. We paid like a long lease that ran into hundreds of millions for a building that was supposed to house like mechanics and stuff, and artisans and all of that. We had partnered with a school that was going to come and like a training school, a technical college that was going to come and train those people on some of these skills and stuff like that. But guess what? Along the line, we started looking for a partner to off-take that project, like come and take it on. We wanted to partner with the government. We had already started this, and at this point in time, CSR and all that wasn't really big yet in Nigeria. Like the big organizations were doing it, but government, I don't think they really got the hang of it. So we're thinking that, okay, government will love this project so much and they'll take it on. We had paid the rent for the next 5 years. We had gotten the building. The building was very close to our office. We're going to pay for everything. We're just looking for somebody to to like continue the project. We couldn't find anybody, and all the money went down the drain. We didn't do the project for one day. So you can imagine that's why sustainability of any project is very, very important. If you don't know how you're going to carry on, there's no point starting it. And most people will not put funding into what they don't think is sustainable. It will have been very extremely difficult for any other organization to take that thing on, because the rent alone was like maybe even 30 million a year. How sustainable is that for another person to take it on? We could have found somebody else. Maybe if we had gotten a smaller space, we're going to fund it. Where I was, we're going to fund it. But we couldn't find anybody that could have signed at that point in time that in 5 years' time, because we're going to pay for the first 5 years. We couldn't find anybody. So that's how that project went down the drain. And that project would have really been something that would have solved a lot of youth unemployment and all of that in Nigeria. And those are the kind those are the kind of projects that people give grants for. So your monitoring and evaluation plan, some of the things that should be in that plan should be your project summary, your progress indicators. So progress indicators are checks that are put in place to ensure that the project is going according to plan. Another thing is risk and assumption. They want to know if you know all the risks that are involved in managing that project, and they want to know that you have things in place that can manage those risks. Also, they want to know your inputs and they want to know your output. So what's the immediate result of you when you put in, whatever you're putting in? What's the immediate result? Who are the people that are going to benefit from it immediately? Your outcomes are slightly different from, I hope I'm not speaking too fast. This thing normally takes like a whole day. It takes like a whole day. So I'm just doing 15 minutes. Anyway, your outcomes are slightly different from your output. So output talks about the immediate result of the project. Outcomes talks about the long-term effect on that project. So for example, a community, let's say, for example, the farmers have started growing vegetables in the community. So let's say you are impacting the lives of farmers, and they were now living well, and all of that. But in terms of for the outcomes, you now say down the line, their lives have now improved. They're now able to send their children to school, stuff like that. So outcomes talk more about long-term effects of your project. Sorry, it's dark.
That's fine.
Anyway, so you also need to talk about the activities. So activities are the steps that you take towards your goals. So for example, to carry out a project to promote quality education, some of the activities that will be listed under that will be things like, you run a competition, you will distribute flyers, your data collection from schools, things like that. So all those activities that you're going to need to ensure that that project is successful, you need to list it out in your grant application form. You also need to write about your key performance indicators. So these are the values that help you understand whether or not your project is going according to the goals and the objectives that you've actually set out for that project. Then responsibility, who is going to be doing what? So what do assessors look out in an application? They want to know that your thought process, is on point. They want to know that you've thought through the project from the beginning to the end, and it needs to show through in that application. Double duty is another thing that they really look out for. So is there somebody else in your community or in your environment or your country that is doing something already to solve that problem? So let's say in your community let's say you want to create a recreational center because you know that it will improve the livelihood of people in that community, or you want to do a borehole. Let me use borehole. And then you have the dream to do this borehole, but there's another person in that same community that has done a borehole. What are they going to give you? Because it's not really going to make that much impact if they give you to do another borehole, except to tell me that the borehole that you've done before cannot feed all the people in the community, or cannot, give all the people in that community water or clean water. So it's always good for that project to be unique, because they want to always find something that, is unique. Check out the need. Is it necessary? Is it something that, people in that environment, need? Is it a need? Also your reach. As much as people say, oh, okay, we don't just want it to just be, to just come and lie, because a lot of people lie in the application and say, oh, I'm going to reach 1 million people by 2023, blah, 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 blah. You need to show that if they don't want people to lie, but they want to see that with the minimal amount of money that they're giving you, you would actually reach, a lot of people. So you need
There'll
to
be an
show,
impact.
exactly, you need to show ways that you can get there. So already, let's say your goal is to reach 1 million people and you write it down. That means already now, as at today, you should already be doing 100,000. But if you're not already doing 100,000, how are you going to show that, okay, how is it going to multiply? You haven't even done anything yet. How are you going to pivot to 1 million? So you need to be able to show the steps of how you're going to be able to reach those people with the amounts that they're going to give you. Also, your budget, is it realistic? They look at that. I'm talking about sustainability, community support. They want us to know, they want to be sure that people in your community are supporting you. You have volunteers and all of that, whether or not it's a non-profit project or not. They want to see that you're accountable. So most times when they're even giving you grants, they're funding you because they're interested in you. And they have to be sure that you have integrity and all of that. So this development space is really, really small. If you're somebody that was just collecting money from different people, misusing the money, maybe using the money to go and marry different wives and all that, people will hear about it. So they need to be sure that you're accountable to people. They need to be sure that you're also a person of the word and of integrity. Also, everybody wants to be part of a good success story. So it's good for you to sing your praises and talk about some of the things that you have already achieved, even with the little that you have. Once they know that you're interested in funding you, and they also check out your track record and your team. So you want to do. The ones assessing you should also be looking to your grantors, looking at giving out money. Are there people who are somebody in the environmental space looking for funding? So not to hate like the oil sector, but all sectors, some of these organizations also give out grants and all of that. But imagine you're trying to clean up the environment and you're not going to go and collect money from people in the oil and gas sector. It
taints your reputation.
Yeah, exactly. It just looks as if you're just trying to grab. So it's important for you to check them out, and also check if your interests are similar, if you guys have similar, goals and similar interests. Like I said before, you cannot be trying to solve agriculture and you're going to go and collect money from somebody that is trying to solve education. They won't even give you the money. So you need to check that your interests are aligned. Check their values. Yeah. Check the grantors' values. Are the values similar to your own values? What they stand for, is it what you stand for? Some people are giving out money, but they're stealing money from somewhere, or they're doing Yahoo. It's important for you to really, really research who you're collecting money from, because you don't want a situation where later in life, some of the steps for success for applying for grants, these are the steps I take. So I always check the guidelines, research the founder, like the founder of the organization that is giving out the grants and the organization as well. I always try to submit early. So by submitting early, that is at least 2 weeks before the application is done. I always review with third party. And this is where I've reviewed applications for so many people, whether it's grants or fellowships and all of that. So it's important for you to review, because trust me, you would not see a lot of your own mistakes. But if somebody else is reading it, the person can see your mistakes and correct it. The person can also make sure that you're applying in a professional manner, because I'm like, there was no way that they were going to give you this money. So it's better for you to review with the third person. That means you're going to put it maybe on a Microsoft Word sheet. So that Microsoft Word sheet would even, it will even show you all the mistakes that you've already made, number one. Number two, you would also save the application so that for your next application, you also have already written responses, so that, most application forms, they ask the same thing, so that you can just, tweak things a little bit and apply for that.
Fabulous.
Also, never give up. A lot of application forms. I don't have time again, Abby.
No. You've got 2 more minutes. 2 more minutes, okay. And yes, and then we'll start asking questions.
Okay, so answer all the questions, draft your responses, like I said, on Microsoft Word, and check your eligibility. Some applications will say, oh, you have to be 35 and below to apply, and you see somebody that's 48 apply for the application, you're most likely not going to get it. So don't bother shooting your shots. Just read the guidelines and make sure that you apply properly. And understand, so most people also, sometimes when you apply for things like this, they tell you to come and pitch. Like the next level can be to pitch. So you need to perfect your pitch deck and all of that. But I'm sure there's somebody going to talk about pitch decks and all of that. Maybe in another
Tomorrow, you know the person that you had yesterday, our investor.
Okay. Oh, fantastic. Oh, God, that would be mad.
I haven't announced it yet officially, so you know who I'm talking about. So tomorrow I'm going to have my pen and paper and I'm going to be taking notes, because that is like a PhD in an hour. So I just wanted to know, because a lot of the entrepreneurs that we have here, from those that have actually answered the survey that we took yesterday, it seems like some people are unemployed, some are, freelancers, and a couple of people are, of course, in full-time employment and maybe thinking of transitioning to being an entrepreneur. So some people don't necessarily know where to even go and apply for a grant. So what website should they go to, and then what are the popular categories that these grants normally come under? So you've got the education sector, maybe the female entrepreneurship sector, or children, or you've also got like the SDGs that are quite popular. That if you fall under any of that, you're also likely to get a loan. So what are those categories that people can then say, okay, my business falls under this category, so anybody that's providing loans for this category, I know I can apply for?
Okay, so firstly, the place that you can go to get access to information about the grants and other opportunities that are available, we always post them on our social media. So AGS Tribe is a fantastic place that you can get all this information. So there's no grants that comes out that we don't post about. Most grants opportunities that come out, we always post on our social media. Within the community as well, we also talk about some of these opportunities and teach people how to actually apply for these opportunities. So that's clear where you can find opportunities. But some of the places where a lot of grants flows to are the SDG goals, because the United Nations, they've already done their own research on the issues that are going on globally and some of the problems that are going on globally. So, and there are 17 goals. There's education, there's gender equality, there's reducing poverty. They're just different things. Protecting the environment and all of that. Health. So if your business falls under that, and I always tell people, when you're even starting a business, it's always good to even look at the SDG goals and see how you can tie your business to the SDG goals. Because there's no point starting a business just for the sake of starting that business. It's important for the business to be, it's important for that business to be sustainable. It's important for that business to be really, really solving a problem, because that's when you can actually scale. If you're not solving a problem, if you're not maybe reducing unemployment, if you're not doing all these things, you can't really, it will be extremely difficult. So like I always say, an industry like photography is a very, very profitable industry, but it will be almost impossible for you to get a grant if you're a photographer, if you're not doing like documentary photography or maybe photography for peace or something like that. If you're like a wedding photographer, it will be extremely difficult, except maybe you have come with a new innovation that is maybe your eyes is just the one that is in to take the picture or something like that, something crazy like that. So my point is, even if the business is profitable, even if it's good and scalable and all that, you might not necessarily get the grant if you're not really solving a real problem that people are actually suffering from. So those are some of the issues with grants. So because a lot of people that give the grants, there are people who are looking to feel good. They want to do good. They want to feel good. So if it's not really solving the problem and improving the lives of people, like when I think about it, if people don't take pictures for their wedding, like what's the worst that will happen? They will cry and be sad and stuff like that. But imagine somebody who is doing a business that is maybe delivering blood in drones or something to people in low-income communities where cars can't get to. That person is most likely going to get the grant. Now,
Yeah.
the grant application I helped somebody review, and it was excellent. Even me, I was feeling myself as I was doing the application. Out of like 20,000 people that applied, she got shortlisted to top 50, and I was happy with that because I'm like, for you to get to top 50, that means your application was very good. She didn't just get to 50; she got to top 20.
Wow.
When I saw the top 20 list, I told her who was going to win the money. Before they even went for the pitching, I told her, I said, this is the person that's going to win. And that was the person that won.
Wow.
Do you understand? So it's almost
based on
obvious.
The problem that they were solving.
Exactly. So if you're not really solving that kind of deep problem, so what they were doing, I don't want to say the name of the company that it was, because they later got a grant from another organization. And I'm not saying, and they got a huge grant. They got like over 10 million. But what I mean is, because they were in competition with this other organization that was solving a real problem that was deadly, of course, anybody who listens to that is going to give that person, you know. So we were actually giving the money to the top 10, so they were number 11.
Oh, that's a shame. They just missed out.
That's why it's important for you to try. Yeah, they missed out on that, but they still met the person. In fact, it was Alibaba. They met him. What's his name again? They met him anyway.
Jack Ma.
And you know, at least they were able to Jack Ma. Yeah, so they were able to build a relationship with him and stuff like that. But you can imagine if their business was, you know, the other business. So their own business is solving their own problem in their own sphere in terms of protecting the environment. But when you put it beside somebody who is saving lives, directly,
it's not comparable.
Cleaning up the environment. Yeah, it's incomparable. So
yeah, it's a more pressing need. Fair enough.
You always have to apply. Yeah, pressing need. You always have to apply with the mindset that it's not only you that is applying for this thing. So you have to put your best foot forward.
Absolutely. Another quick question. An entrepreneur who is just at the idea stage and they actually haven't started, can they also get grants? That's from Fatsumi B. Solomon.
The only organization I think can give you a grant is the TEF one, if you're an idea stage. Like, I wouldn't give, because we give out grants as well. I wouldn't give that TEF one. We have so many ideas. There was somebody that said, the Tony Melu one. So there was somebody who said, oh, you know, their stuff can cure diabetes, or you can tell if you have diabetes on the spot and all that. And I was like, wow, you know, when the person was speaking, I was like, wow, you know, I can't wait to see this product. And she was like, oh, it's an idea. It's not please just get out. Like, I was like, you might be lying at the end of the day. You might not even know that you're lying. It's not to be even wicked. You understand? It's just that you've not tried this out. It's not a product. So there are more people who have products that are pressing, that need the funding. So I'd rather give that person the money than to give it to you that, you know, doesn't have that.
Someone wants to know, Honest Perfumery. Children, eh? So quickly before we round up, last question. It's okay. Someone wants to know, Proverbs says, hi Ife, please can you highlight 5 risks an entrepreneur faces during startup and how to tackle them? Wow, okay, so I think that's going to take some time. If you do have a few more minutes, feel free to just type the answer to Proverbs 31:25 if you see her on the list. And also, we will be sharing Ife's contact details when we send out the minutes of the masterclass. If you have any more questions, I will try and answer all the leftover questions. I'll answer them to the best of my ability at the end of the session. We do have one more speaker who's coming from Access Bank. Thank you so much, Ife. I will let you go share your internet with your child.
Oh my God, this kid's
It's fine. Listen, this is what lockdown does. Everybody's very crazy. You were a bag of information. You were very, very helpful. And I'm sure that you've definitely left a few people with some food for thought in terms of applying for grants as well. Thank you so much.
And they can get my book if they want. So my book is available and it's literally just 5K. So they can get my book for more information.
Is it available on the AGS Tribe, the Instagram page?
Yes, AGS the link in our bio.
Okay, so I've put that already in there. So visit the AGS Tribe on Instagram and you can get Ife's book called access to grants. All righty, Fair. Thank you very much. Loving you and leaving you. Okay, so pin it. To be honest, guys, Precious says, please pin it. Do I know how to pin? Can you guys, how do I pin a message? Gosh, I need to YouTube it and go through a class on how to do it. AGS Tribe, I'll put it again, at AGS Tribe on Instagram. All right, so coming up next, we do have a member of the Access Bank fam. His name is Olakunle Ajila. He has 6 years experience in SME banking, and you should know that SME banking is small, medium enterprise banking, and is currently a product manager. So let me just do that, and then let me go to Olakunle Ajila. So from Access Bank, and he is now here to talk about how Access Bank can support and aid the sustainable growth of MSMEs. MSME stands for micro, small, medium enterprises, and he's got a variety of skill sets that will definitely be useful to us. Now, another thing that you should be aware of is that the reason that I specifically wanted Access Bank on this was because they've partnered up with Bookings Africa. So I know that the products that they offer for entrepreneurs are amazing. But then also, what exactly are banks looking for? Because it seems as if freelancers are called, you know, with the gig economy, we're informal. So as far as if you're a makeup artist, for example, your cousin calls you or your neighbor calls you and says, please do my makeup, and they give you cash in hand. The government and the financial system has no record of that payment. So even if they do a transfer into your account, as far as the bank is concerned, you're still unemployed. So when you then go to the bank and say, I'm a makeup artist and I want to get a loan from you, they're going to say, sorry, we can't give you a loan because you're unemployed, even though you're making frequent cash or daily income from your passion, basically, or whatever your business is. So now I want Olakunle Ajila to help us understand how exactly banks think, and also how they can help us so that when we apply, we know exactly what they're looking out for, and maybe there's a specific product that they can help us out with. So Olakunle, if you are there, please, could you unmute yourself and join the conversation? Let me look for you. Olakunle Ajila, more start video. All right, so are you there?
Yes. Okay. Yes. Thank you very much for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me clearly? Loud and clear.
Okay,
so I've done
great.
a quick introduction. Feel free to take the floor for 20 minutes, and yeah, just please tell us about your role and exactly how you're going to impact or how you can help impact the MSMEs.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity. So I'll do a run through of what banks look for in lending to SMEs, major reasons why SMEs are rejected, and what you can do to enhance your chances of getting a loan with a bank, and then the various value offerings and loans that Access Bank have available that you can quickly take advantage of if you need funding. So starting that, what do banks look for? Banks look for what we call the 5 C's of credit. That would be character, capital, collateral, capacity, and condition. Okay, just breaking down what each of these means. I'll start with character. Character is your integrity and is your willingness to pay. So as much as banks have lending and we're in the bank of lending, the fact is that we are a financial intermediate. We are into financial intermediation, meaning we take money from those that have in excess to give to those that do not have sufficient money. So the funds that we lend is not our own. So when we lend, when we borrow out money, we expect that money to come back. So one thing that we'll look for, which is very important, is to check your willingness and your character as an entrepreneur. You can ask, how do we do that? The first thing, first of all, is that to get any loan from any bank right now in Nigeria, we are mandated to conduct a credit history, a credit check on you. So we'll conduct a credit check on your business. We'll conduct a credit check on your person. Do you have any history of borrowing without repaying? If you do, that will most likely have an adverse impact on your ability to lend. Additionally, we check for issuance of dot checks. Unfortunately, in Nigeria, the number of people that have accessed finance through the formal sector is not that much. So a lot of credit checks that you do, you find out there are no credit history. So that means we need to go beyond that to determine if you have character. So what we do is we check for dot checks. If you have an habit of issuing dot checks, the chances of you getting a loan is very limited. Also, account officers across the nation would do visitations to your store. They will most likely have engagement with your vendors, have engagement with your staff, ask questions that would tell what kind of person you are. Are you someone of integrity? Can your words be relied on? Because it's noted that most credits that go bad, they don't go bad because of the business. They go bad mostly because of the promoters. Unfortunately, a lot of people want to borrow money without having any intention of paying that money back. The second C will be capital. What is your net worth? For someone whose total assets is less than 10 million, seeking to get a loan of about 10 billion, there's not a balance there. If you have not been able to if all you have been able to manage is 10 million, how sure are we that you have the capacity to manage to manage 10 billion? So we check for.
Is there a maximum or an average? Like, okay, if your net worth is 10M, then we can give you a 3x. So we can give you a loan of 30 million,
okay,
whatever, three times whatever your net worth is. Is there any algorithm to that?
No, not at all. Not at all. So we check for net worth to see our capacity, except where there is a huge variation or a huge gap. We most likely won't limit that. And that was, I used the example of 10 million and 10 billion. Okay. But what would not necessarily, not a calculation, but we just, except where there is a spike or a huge variation, we don't bother. Then what is your stake in the business? We are not an equity, banks are not into equity funding. So when we are lending, no matter the volume that we are lending, we want to make sure that you have a stake in the business. We don't want to lend to you and we are the only ones that stand to lose when you are unable to repay or when life happens sometimes or things just go bad. So we check for your stake, we check for your equity. And also another very important quality that we check for is capacity. Capacity is the cash flow of the business. Can the business repay the loan that is seeking for?
Yeah.
Does the business generate sufficient cash flow over the tenure of the loan to repay it? So that's why a lot of times we request for your financial statement. If you don't have one, we check for your bank statement. We check for your invoices, for your receipts, for your purchases, basically to understand what the cash flow is in your business, how much comes in, how much goes out, what is free for you to be able to repay a loan. If you give a loan if someone that earns 100,000, you give them a loan that requires that they should repay 100,000 every month, the chances is that from the onset that loan will go bad. Yeah. Because you cannot use all your income to repay a loan. So what we use for sustaining yourself, what we use to sustain the business. So we check for cash flow. Collateral, or what you call security, is also something that is very important, which I know a lot of SMEs don't like to hear, but I have good news from Access Bank. Okay, collateral is basically a backup. Because the funding is not the bank don't own the money. They are also customers' money. So when a loan goes bad, we can't go to another customer and say, oh, sorry, the money you saved with us, we borrowed Mr. X, and now Mr. X business has shut down, so we are not able to give you the money. You know it's not our fault. No customer will listen to that. We'll most likely be even be sent out of business. So this collateral is majorly for backup. When, for whatever reason, things go bad, what are the things that we can fall back on? And the beautiful thing about Access Bank is that because we understand SMEs, a lot of SMEs have low capital, you don't have tangible collateral. So what we have done is that we provide financing, sometimes to as high as 20 million naira without requesting for any tangible collateral.
Awesome.
Okay, later on I will talk about some of those products. So but for those that are seeking for high volumes, seeking for 50 million, 100 million, you most likely need to provide a tangible collateral. Another thing that you can also notice that collateral could actually be the assets that if you want to buy an asset, that asset can stand as a collateral for your business. And lastly, in the 5 C's will be conditions. So conditions talks about what are the terms of the lending? What's the interest rate? What's the tenor? For banks in Nigeria, typically we don't want to lend for more than 5 years. Okay, so if you are looking for a longer tenured loan, except for project financing and some others, but for SMEs generally we don't want to lend more than 5 years because also our financing is short term, so we don't want to tie funds for that long. So conditions could also be the repayment plan. Do you want to pay monthly? Do you want an overdraft? Do you want a term loan? And so on and so forth. So if you've checked your business and you think that you have all these, you meet all these 5 C's, awesome, then you can definitely come to us and ask for a loan. So just a review before this session, I read a KPMG survey, which I totally agree with as an SME banker, on why banks reject loans, the major reasons why banks reject loans. Okay, so the first one is that, yes, the first one is that businesses that are not registered, that are not duly registered. The regulatory agencies forbid us from lending, giving business financing to individuals. So the first one is that to get a loan, you have to be registered with CAC. Unfortunately, less than 5% of SMEs in Nigeria, according to Smidan, are duly registered. We have over 41 million SMEs, 41.5 million SMEs in Nigeria, and just about 2 or 3 million are registered businesses. So if you are not duly registered, the chances of you getting organizations, even though you are registered with CAC, you need to also be registered with the relevant bodies. So if you are a school, you need to have your state government permission for your school. If you are into the health industry, you need to have the regulatory permission and so on and so forth. If you are into contracting, if you're into manufacturing, you need to have NAFDAC, you need to have SON, and so on and so forth. You need to have proper registration with all the regulatory bodies. The second so that financial record could be your bank statement, because right now we understand a lot of SMEs don't have financial statement or their financial statement. So in Access Bank, we accept your bank statement. Additionally, we also work with you on some of our programs to calculate what your inflows and outflows are. So if you should keep your invoices, you should keep your receipts from purchases, you should keep your record of sales, record of expenses. So if you don't have a financial statement, it's okay. But if I come to you, if an account officer comes to you and wants to help you build a financial statement, do they have the requisite information to help? Okay, so you need to keep proper records. The lack of a business plan. Particularly if you are looking for long-term lending for about I said we could lend up to 5 years, but looking for up to 5 years lending, there should be a business plan. This is currently where you are. Projects. What are your projections? So you should have a business plan to show us that, okay, we are not in the business directly with you, but we should have a document that anybody can pick up and see your current situation, can see the potentials that are available and see where you are going to. The business plan will also show us your financial projections over 2 years, over 3 years, over 4 years. Beautiful things also is in Access Bank is that for the business plan, so you don't spend a lot with going to experts. We also have some templates that we can yes, another thing we've also noticed. Yes.
Sorry, did you say that you'll provide business plan templates?
Yes, we have templates that you can use, exactly.
Will you share that with me so I can share with everyone? Is there a link maybe, or you can WhatsApp it to me?
Okay, so it's on our SME platform, SME Zone, www.access.
Your phone is breaking up.
Did you get that?
The phone just broke up. www.access.
ME Zone.
Access
MEZone.com. Yes. Okay. Also, something we have noticed is that another reason why banks reject loan is that lack of experience and competent management. Basically, the capacity, the intellectual capacity of the business owner. One thing that you will find in the SME space, if you've been there for a long tailor, so I know how to sew. I'm a makeup artist. I'm very good with makeups, but not necessarily the required business capacity. So you don't have the financial management skills. You don't have digital marketing skills. You don't have marketing skills or sales skills. You're just very efficient in with your technical capacity. So a lot of, but for SMEs, for MEs, where you have 2 or 3 to improve your capacity in all these other areas. So a lot of people or a lot of businesses might seek for loans and they don't show such capacity. Also, the SME Zone is a great platform where you can learn and improve yourself. You can learn about bookkeeping. You can learn about how to keep records. You can learn about how to manage staff and so on and so forth. Then analysis of your business, we find out that your business is already operating at scale, right? Provided that you're in that particular location, you can't, there is the opportunity to grow is limited. So what that means is that even when we provide the funding for your business, it might not witness the expected.
Yeah.
The ways that we help in Access Bank to prevent these reasons for rejection or to reduce the chance of rejection. First of all, is that we have the SME Zone that I told you about. Is an online learning management platform where you can take different capacity building development courses. You can manage your business. There's also opportunity to speak with experts, ask questions of experts, get one-on-one consulting sessions online on the SME Zone. Our loans in Access Bank, we've developed several loans based on sectors. Okay, I will highlight some of them later on. We've developed several loans based on sectors that helps us provide financing for these. Any collateral, if you're in if you're in hospitality business, you can get up to 20 million. If you're in education, you can get up to 10 million. If you're in health, you can get up to 3 million. If you're a woman, you can get up to 5 million. If you're a woman in any sector, you can get up to 5 million without any tangible collateral, and so on and so forth. Then also for customers who have taken loans from us at any point in time, you can come back again and get that same loan without requesting for a collateral.
So, quick question that comes to mind is when people are when you're talking about bookkeeping and your financial records, what is the average amount of months or years that people should have had their records for? Because if I start my business 2 weeks ago and I just come to you and I say, hey, I've had 3 customers in 2 weeks, here's all my invoices, give me a loan. Will that work? So on average, how many months or how many years is favorable for bankers
being
to
in business.
provide loans?
Hello, can you hear me? I
Yes,
think
you
the
keep
network is
cutting in
breaking.
and out.
Okay, sorry about that. I said for most of our programs, except for the ones dedicated to startups, you need to have been in business for a minimum of 1 year.
Okay. And
You
you
need
need
to
to
have been in
show
business for a
your
minimum.
record for 1 year.
Yes. So the record, like I said, could be it could be your financial or your bank statement. It could also be just proof of your business.
And then also, do you provide loans to SMEs outside of Nigeria? Because I know that Access Bank is, of course, in sub-Saharan Africa. So is it the same across board?
Okay, so the requirement I've listed now are really generic to the industry, other than when I started talking about specific programs that we have in Access Bank. And those programs for Access Bank are available
Available throughout the continent, throughout Africa.
It's available in all countries where we have a presence.
Yes. Okay. Fantastic.
Yes.
All right. So, I want to go to the quick fire round. Do you have any things you want to wrap up with? And then I also want to talk about, go ahead.
Okay, so if you've meet all these requirements and you want to get a loan, just some things to before you need the loan, right? A lot of the loan process takes it takes between 2 weeks to 1 month or 3 months, and some could even take longer, depending on the loan you are looking for. Most of these loans that I mentioned are quick loans that you can get within a week or 2 weeks. But basically, as an SME, you should start start your processing, start your planning before you require the loan. So make sure that your business is properly structured and legalized. Keep your financial records. That's number 3. Keep your financial record. Make sure you have all your documentation. And then lastly, you can prepare the loan application. So in Access Bank, I already mentioned them. We million naira. If you're in the health sector. The school advantage loan, you can get up to 10 million without any collateral for working capital, for salary payments. We have the hospitality lending for players in hotel, restaurants, bar, and so on and so forth. The cash flow get the cash flow lending methodology. As much as 5 million naira. The cash flow lending methodology you can also apply online. So we have been working on ways to reduce the turnaround time of accessing loans. A major place where we witness large delays or large TAT turnaround time is in the application stage. So right now, all you just need to do is visit cashflow.accessbankplc.com, and you can apply for your loan yourself. Or the application delay, and within 48 hours, you get a confirmation either your loan is approved or declined. And if it's declined, you will get things that you can do to improve the reason why it's declined and how you can basically resolve those challenges. So you can apply yourself in your location, cashflow.accessbankplc.com, www.cashflow.accessbankplc.com. So that's the cash flow lending program that we have. Exactly.
Awesome.
I think
I
I
would
would just love
definitely
to take questions.
yes, I will definitely be looking at both websites, the accesssmezone.com and also the cashflow.accessbankplc.com. So now thank you so much for your time, and we just want to quickly throw some quick questions at you and just try and keep it short, sweet, so we can answer as many as possible. I've asked, do you provide loans outside Nigeria? You said yes. Proverbs Woman says, if my bank statements are financially stable at the time I'm applying for the loan, but I don't have money in my account at that specific time, will I still be granted a loan?
Sorry, I didn't get that. Can you come again? I think I cut.
Sure. If somebody's bank statements are stable, but at the time that they're applying
Yes.
for the loan, let's say it's like COVID period and they just don't happen to have money in their account, would they still be applicable for a loan, or will that count against them?
Yes, yes. So, what in our analysis, like I said, we look at your transaction history over a year, okay?
Mm.
And if we notice that there were drops or declines in any particular month, there is an engagement. So someone will speak with you on why that decline is. The current situation right now is everyone is aware of that. In fact, in Access Bank, we are giving all our SME customers up to 3 months moratorium on either
nice.
principal or interest or both at Access Bank.
Amazing.
Exactly. So
that takes pressure off the repayment.
That there are drops, then no problem. But basically, we look at the minimum of 1 year trend of your business cash flow, your bank statement to gauge your eligibility. Also to note that in Access Bank, we are also very open to, we understand that SMEs want multiple accounts, and it's possible you want to get a loan from us because you are not able to get from your other bank. So we work with, even if you don't, if you didn't run your account throughout that 1 year with Access Bank, if you're running with another bank, we can use your statement of account with other banks to lend you to you in Access Bank.
Fantastic. Chris Sammy actually asked a question relating to that, which you've just answered. So Chris Sammy, I hope you heard that one. Olabukola Falore says, what is the interest on salary loans and how many years payable? And also a couple of people want to know, what is the range of your interest rates when it comes to loans? So if you could just talk through on the interest rates a little bit.
Okay. So for loans, we don't have like all the different all the various programs that are listed for you have different interest rates. Okay. We're in partnership with CBN where you can get loans as low as 5% right now. We have our W Power loan for women, which is at 15%. We have loans at 18%. We have loans at 20%. We have loans at 23%, 24%. But I think the highest loan will be all the rates I just gave you now are per annum, not per month, per annum.
Per annum. Fantastic. Okay, so I want to speak to you briefly about one of the things that one of the reasons Access Bank actually partnered up with Bookings Africa, and I want us to highlight why this is actually important, because freelancers don't actually think about this. They don't realize that they're part of the informal sector. So if you're listening, if you're in the group right now and you're not sure what the informal sector means, formal sector, informal sector. Formal sector means you're on salary, you're accountable. The finance industry and the government can track your earnings. The informal sector are people who get paid cash, or you just get a transfer, but we can't necessarily track that you've actually worked for that money. So now the bank are less likely to give the informal sector loans. That's number one, because generally the informal sector don't tend to keep their books. It's easy if you've been getting salary every month. It's easy to just pull up your bank statement and say, here, I've been getting salary for the past 2 years, and the bank can use that as your financial record, right? But as an entrepreneur, if you're not getting a salary and you're not also financially confident enough or even aware, sometimes you're just not even aware of what is needed, which is why I'm having this sort of masterclass of why, even if you're doing a makeup for your neighbor, you need to get an invoice to them. You need to keep the receipt that says it's paid. So that way, you're actually showcasing that you're making money from your entrepreneurial venture, whatever venture and business it is that you want to run. So now, because I realized that this is an issue that a lot of freelancers and MSMEs face, we've automated that process for you on Bookings Africa. So if you are a photographer, makeup artist, hairstylist, dancer, DJ, comedian, actor, and you get booked on Bookings Africa, it's automated where your invoice is generated, your receipt is generated, and at the end of each month, we can actually send you a breakdown to say, this month you got booked for 10 hours worth of jobs. Those 10 hours worked out to be, I don't know, 1.5 million naira. And normally you would be paying X amount of tax. So you yourself even know how much tax you could be paying, because eventually we want to be able to pay the tax on behalf of SMEs, or freelancers. That way you're more likely to get loans to be able to start your own photography school, start your own makeup studio, start your own, you can do a lot more, because now your bookkeeping is automated, and you don't have to think about that. So that's really attractive to Access Bank, which is why they said, we want to partner with Bookings Africa, because we want to also be able to provide loans to the informal sector. And the informal sector, the only reason that, like I said, that they are less likely to get loans is because Kunle has mentioned the 5 C's. And a lot of the time, the one thing, apart from capital and capacity, a lot of the times people just don't actually, they just don't have the financial records. And as we know, that is one of the major reasons why bank loans are rejected. So in terms of your invoices, receipts, record of sales, all of those, the paperwork, we've now done it automatically for you on the system, on your app. So when you sign up as a talent, and even as a client, when you sign up, you have your own dashboard, so you can go through all your history. So you can say from 2010 to 2015, pull up all my invoices, and you can then use that. So that way it's taken off of your head. You don't have to think about that. So that's one of the benefits that Bookings Africa offers all of our talent. And it's just, when I started Bookings Africa, it was to say, I want to help formalize the gig economy, because that's the biggest issue. People don't realize that the formal sector only makes up about 20 or 30% of the entire, something like 32% of the entire business in Africa, not even in Nigeria, across Africa. Only 32% of people are then eligible to get mortgage loans, get car loans, get business loans. Only 32% of everybody and the whole 1.2 billion people in Africa have access to financial services like that. So why are you shooting yourself in the foot? Why are you stopping yourself moving forward and progressing before you even start the business? So when you're thinking about starting a business, these are all the things you need to put in place. Yesterday, we spoke about having your business plan, your business model, your route to market, understanding the importance of vision, mission, and your branding, your unique selling point, which is the starter pack, the first things you need to do. Once you've gotten that down and you now realize you need access to money, these are the various things, from grants to initiatives such as SME 100, who can help you, and then of course Access Bank as well. And then before, you might want to say you want to start up a makeup school, but you've been doing makeup for your friends for the past 5 years since you were in university. Did you send any of them an invoice? Do you have receipts to prove that they've paid you? If you had, or for the past 5 years that you've been doing makeup for your friends in university, you'd be more likely to be able to get a loan right now. But because you haven't done that bookkeeping, you're discounted from these benefits. So that is what one of the benefits that I wanted to highlight, specifically when it comes to access into finance and how you can do so. Bookings Africa automatically does that for you. Once you get a booking on your dashboard, an invoice is generated for you, and you can print that invoice, or you can email it, or just keep it. So after a year, you then have a year worth of invoices. So now every time a client wants to book you, you should encourage them to book you through Bookings Africa, because that way it's another benefit in the long term for you, because now you have your records of sales and invoices and receipts, especially if you know that you want to launch a business in like a year's time. You want to start your own photography school, your own DJ school, your own whatever it is. You need to start thinking about that now. And it's not when in a year's time you want to go to the bank and they're like, oh, you need a year's worth of records. Then you have to wait a whole nother year. So these are things to think about. I will thank you so much, Kunle. I'll send you a WhatsApp message if you can send me your details, such as maybe your LinkedIn, your social media. So that way, if people have any more questions, they can always hit you up. And I just want to thank you and Access Bank again for your time. I know it was short notice. I hit you guys up yesterday. I'm like, hi, business partners. So how about you guys come on board?
We're glad to be here. No problem.
Thank you so much, Kunle. I really appreciate it. All right, take care. Bye. All right, so Kunle has just left us. It is now, oh my gosh, time flies when you're having fun, right? Okay, so it is now what, 10 minutes to 7. For the next 15-20 minutes, I want to then just talk to you about my journey into raising capital. So I will just read a couple of questions that I can answer, and then I will go straight into that. So at least we know that we've finished the segment with our speakers. So for everybody who's just joined in, once again, remember that we send out daily Zoom links at 3 p.m. So check your mail. If you're enjoying the class, please tell your friend, refer us to a friend, send them the email address, info@bookingsafrica.com, and tell them to basically request for a link, and we will send them the Zoom link. Always send your questions ahead of time via IG or email, because that way I get to incorporate that into the questions that I ask. And then at the end of the week, so on Saturday, because we have a 5-day course, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to Friday, the 5-day course slides, the presentation deck, will actually be sent to every single person who sent us their email. So that's one of the benefits. So if you didn't hear something or you've missed something out, no problem. We will be sharing the complete slides from each session will be sent to you. Remember again, the email address, info@bookingsafrica.com, and the subject is Entrepreneurship 101. We have some house rules. If you've just joined us, please keep your page on mute. So I'm just going to go through the next questions. Let me see. Banks are amazing. There's a specific loan amount. Thank you, Fadi. Thank you, Fadi. Nice initiative. You guys are amazing. All right. Precious says, my question is, what's the probability of a fashion designer getting booked on Bookings Africa, as well as the number of orders made on Bookings Africa for fashion entrepreneurs? Beatrice, could you take off your, could you remove your camera? I'll stop your video. So on our site, we have fashion stylists, not designers, because a lot of the clientele that book fashion stylists on our site are ad agencies, production agencies, people that want to shoot music videos, shoot TV commercials, or maybe, yeah. So for those type of jobs, they tend to need fashion stylists. So a fashion designer would be an e-commerce site. And e-commerce is, of course, like an electronic commerce. So we are not an electronic commerce site. So you can't buy things on our site. What you can buy the skills of people. So if you need a makeup artist skill, the makeup artist, the artisan will come to you. If you need a DJ, a fashion stylist, a voiceover artist, a photographer, a model, a comedian, an MC, a dancer. So if you need to book anybody, so you've got a birthday party after COVID, you want to throw a post-COVID turn up, right? Now you can do so by booking your DJ simply on Bookings Africa at the tap of a button. So it's that simple. Hello, unfortunately, I missed yesterday's class. Could I get the minutes? Funlola, over the weekend, on Saturday, we're actually compiling the minutes of all the sessions, Monday through to Friday. We will share that with you on Saturday, and also videos as well, as we are recording the session. So let me see. Hi, Fadi. Okay, wait, before that, a quick, kindly list 5 viable business in and out of Nigeria one can invest in as a starter. Thank you. Wait, Olubukola Falore says, list 5 viable businesses in and out of Nigeria that one can invest in as a startup. So are you saying that you want to invest your money into a startup, or you're thinking of starting a business? You're an entrepreneur, you want to start a business, and you want to know the top 5 viable businesses that you think would be a good idea? Could you please clarify your question, because it's a bit vague. Fadi, how long before you bootstrapped before raising pre-seed? So I started Bookings Africa in 2018, officially in January 2018, and I bootstrapped it for about 9 months until I got like an angel investor / family friend. who gave me my first, I think it was like 10 million naira. And then that lasted me for about another 9 months until September last year, when I raised my other $250,000 from Platform Capital. So it took me about a solid year by myself of bootstrapping before I did my So basically, I would say really and truly my pre-seed round, it took me a good year and a half of bootstrapping. So it's not easy, guys. It is absolutely not easy. So Bookings Africa, only in 3 states in Nigeria. We are expanding it, so look out for that. Are there any hashtags we can use on social media? Uzo, you are my communications manager. Could you please let me know the hashtag? Hashtag Bookings Africa, hashtag Entrepreneurship 101, hashtag Barriogoro. What's the Bookings Africa website? bookingsafrica.com. Come on. I thought you guys knew that. Can you guys please go on our Instagram page and also my Instagram page? Follow me, Fadi Ogoro, follow Bookings Africa at Bookings Africa. You're a stylist, you'd love to register, please go on the platform. It's absolutely free. Do you have a platform for MCs? Yes, we do. bookingsafrica.com. It's still the same platform. You go there and you click and you say that you want to sign up as an MC. Question is, I signed up with Bookings Africa as a graphic designer, but a combination of what you do is arts class, children. Okay, so I think we're going to go into more Bookings Africa questions a little bit later on. I know people are here specifically wanting to know about access to finance and how I did so. So let me just take you through my crazy 2 years since 2018 of how I managed to get money and what my plan is next, right? So it all started yesterday. Yesterday I gave a little brief summary of how I even thought about Bookings Africa, and it starts off with wanting to resolve a problem. I was a selfish need that I faced. I was a producer, an executive producer for Bookings Africa, for Film Factory Productions. I've produced numerous music videos, numerous commercials, documentaries, and every time I flew around Africa, it was just always hard for me to source the talent that I need. So eventually I thought about, hey, I should come up with my own platform where I could just get all the talent in one place, like an Uber or an Airbnb, where if you've got a talent, upload it, and if you're a client, book and pay for it, right? Simple enough. And I thought, nobody's doing this. I don't even want to do it myself because I'm not into tech at the time. This was around 2015, 2016. I'm not into tech, so what do I know? Let somebody else figure it out. It's a good idea. I'm sure somebody will come up with the idea. That was in 2015, 2016. 2018, still nothing. And I thought, do you know what? Maybe this is actually my purpose, for me to actually try and resolve this problem myself rather than just complaining about it. And so I left my company, Film Factory. I sat in an office space, literally that's, the size of a toilet. It could take one table, one chair, a fridge, and that's literally it. Like you can't have more than like maybe 3 people in the room at the same time. So it was a pretty small office. It was in my mum's BQ. So I renovated my mum's BQ because I didn't want to pay any rent. And I was just like, it's just me. And I had a general manager at the time. It was like, it's just the 2 of us. So I don't need some big fancy office space. I'm not trying to pay rent. I'm bootstrapping. So I was obviously trying to be very, trying to keep my costs very, very, very low. That's the most important thing. You've got to be very frugal when you're bootstrapping. So that was part number 1. So I used my mom's BQ, so I didn't pay any rent. I then hired an assistant. So she was doing a lot of the answering emails and just helping me out with my day-to-day stuff. And then I started pitching. So the website that I shared with you yesterday, that will also be on the minutes of the meeting, Harvard iLab, it's a YouTube channel. If you go on YouTube, Harvard University have 2 or 3 different channels. So look for Harvard iLab, like iPhone. And it's specifically for entrepreneurs and SMEs, and it talks to you about it gives you a checklist, everything you need to know about how to write a pitch deck, how to write a business plan, how to write a business model, what to do when you want to think about your route to market. So everything that I needed to know about starting a business, I did there. And then it also tells you about your finances, how to raise capital and all that. So I then decided to start pitching. I went to CC Hub, I went to everywhere. And there's a website that I shared with you as well earlier on called vc4a.com. So vc4a.com. That is basically where you can have, if you want to apply for a grant, you want to find a venture capitalist, you can also go on VC4A, because that's where a lot of venture capitalists, they basically put up and say, hey, we want to give money to people in the agri sector. We want to give money to people in the medical sector. We want to give money to people in the female entrepreneurs. We want to give money to, and it's specifically venture capitalist for Africa. That's what it stands for, VC4A, venture capitalist for Africa. So that way, if you were trying to get if you're trying to raise capital from a venture capitalist, I'd always advise you look there. And it's also a good way to practice filling out forms. Trust me, the more forms that you fill out when you're applying for a loan, when you're applying to a VC, the better you'll think about your business, because they all tend to ask the same question. A few people are asking for the Harvard link. We will be sharing that in minutes of the meeting, but it's a YouTube channel, and it's called Harvard iLab. Okay, so then I pitched to everyone. I pitched to Wale Tenumbu, I pitched to Dangote, I pitched to everybody, their mama, their baby mama, their grandmother, anybody that I could pitch to, I pitched. And I got no, and you get a no. I was getting no's from every single direction. Now I've got to give you guys, because you're laughing at me. It's serious, it's true though. And I've got to give you guys, that humbled me. That's the truth. That's the darn honest truth. I've come from a media background. I was in Beat FM. I shoot videos for Tiwa and Wiz and Davido, and people know me, right? Like, who's gonna say no to me? I'm going there, popping my collar. Then people in the tech space are just like, who are you? Radio? Oh no, sorry, we don't listen to radio. TV? Oh no, we don't know. Nobody knew who I was in the tech space. So me coming there thinking that I'm gonna get some special treatment, absolutely not. How do you pitch to those top players? So basically my best friend, her father works with a couple of these gentlemen. So I've actually I've been fortunate enough to meet them. And then also my dad, who had an advertising agency, bless him, before he passed away. He also knew a lot of these top players, as you'd call them, the top 1%ers. My dad owned an ad agency, and we did a lot of adverts for everyone from Nestle, Milo, to everyone, Cowbell Milk, to Fashola, we've done everybody's ad campaigns. So my network is quite vast, but the thing is, a lot of people might have the same network, but they don't know how to harness it. So anyways, as I was getting a no from everyone, my first offer that I got was from a gentleman who's quite well known, but I'll leave his name out of this for now. And he said, Fade, I like your business. However, you want, I think I was asking for something like $20,000 or $30,000, like something really small for like 10% of the business, right? So I think, I wanted like, $30,000 for about 10% of the business. And he was like, I want to give you $1 million, but I want 50% of the business. And I'm there thinking, $1 million, what? That's a Ferrari, that's a free trip to here, how many handbags? And I said, no, put your business cap back on, right? This is not your money, it's the company's money. And I then decided, why would I need $1 million? Like, that means I'm going to have to pay you back, not even $1 million. You might want 10 times that. So I then have to look to make sure that my business is making enough money to pay you back $30 million or so in the next, let's say, 5 years or 10 years. That is what you call BC. And I said, nope, I'm not interested. Thank you very much. And then I said to him, first of all, and he said, why would you turn that down? And I said, first of all, it took me like 6 months to get one meeting with you. I don't want just your money. I need your time. I need to have access to your network. So if I'm having a legal battle, you can send your legal team to rescue me. If I'm trying to get a business advice because a partner is trying to pull a fast one on me, I need to know that you'll have my back. You don't answer my phone calls until 2 weeks down the line because you're so busy. I can't have a one-on-one meeting with you until for 6 months because you're so busy. Do I really want you as an investor? Because all you're going to do is throw money at me and I don't know how to manage the money. I'm not gonna lie, that money is intimidating. 100,000, 200,000, yes, I can account for it because on my business plan, I've already put and itemized exactly what I'm gonna spend the money on. But if you're gonna give me 10 times what I need, then I'll just be thinking, gosh, I'll be more likely to be wasteful. And then you get to dig yourself a deep grave because people are going to start knocking in a few years and say, give me my money back. So I turned that person down. And then after that, I was getting no. At least in like 1 year, I'm sure I got like 30 no's. So that was disheartening, but I was very confident in my idea. I said, I know that this is a viable business product. I've tested this in the market. I know the consumer fit, and I know that it's got a space. It's a white space. It's not even being done right now. So I don't even have any competition. And I believed in my product so much. I just kept going with every no. I just kept thinking, I always have this philosophy in my mind. When I hear a no, you're either asking the wrong person or you're asking the wrong questions. So that's always how I thought about it. I thought, I'm either asking them the wrong questions or delivering my pitch in a way where they're not understanding the values, or maybe they want to invest in an agricultural business or a biotech business, and I'm there talking to them about booking a makeup artist. So maybe I'm talking to the wrong person. So that was always my mindset. I never thought I'm not good enough, or my product or my idea or my business isn't good enough. Bear in mind, this was me before I had a working website. At this stage, when I'm trying to raise the 30,000, all I had was a one-page website, which was free on Wix.com. And it's basically a registration page where people will just give in your name, your email address, and then which job you want to sign up for. So do you want to be a makeup artist or a photographer, or what skills you have that you can get booked and paid for? So before I knew it, when I had recreated that bookingsafrica.com one pager on Wix.com, which I'll also put here in case you guys check that page. You can do like basic free websites. So I then created that one pager, and about 400 or 500 different talents signed up. So I then because obviously I've got access to ad agencies and production houses, because obviously I own a production company as well. I'd call all my friends who work in advertising agencies and production companies and media companies. And I'm like, hey, you've got a TV commercial, right? The next TV commercial that you want to shoot, why don't you use one of the models on my database? I've got like 50 models. Let me send you their pictures. So I started doing the business manually. So I'd send maybe an ad agency, I'd send them the picture of 10 girls because I know that they need a girl for their next beauty campaign, or a voiceover artist, or for a radio jingle. And maybe people had already sent me, like, people had signed up on that one pager, Wix. I'd received maybe about 70 or 80 voiceover artists. So I'd send samples to the ad agencies. And before you knew it, they started paying me, like, oh yeah, we want to book this voiceover artist. They'll put cash in my bank account. I'll send it to the artist. I'll keep my commission. The artist will do their job. They'll send it to me, and then I'll email the file, the MP3 file. I'll email that to the ad agency or the production company or whoever the client is. And I kept doing that throughout the year. And and at the same time, I'm pitching. So as I'm pitching, I'm having to always do iteration, basically reiterate and improve and update my pitch. Because when I started off pitching, I hadn't made any revenue, I hadn't made any sales with this business, even though the website wasn't working. But then halfway through the year, I've gotten 400 people to sign up to a one-page website, and I've now started making money from it. So I started getting better responses as the people see that I was actually still positively working towards making the website work, rather than just say, hey, well, nobody's giving me money, so there's nothing else I can do about it. There's so many free things that you can do online, and you can actually just, if you have the drive, you can actually push yourself to achieve your goals. So I decided before, I want to showcase to an investor why this is a great business. I'm now going to show them that you can do this offline, and this is working offline. And if this is working offline, imagine how it would work online and the millions of people you can now reach, because obviously being online, you're borderless. Now, the way God has it, I remember it was a Sunday. I did not go to church, and I was praying to God, God, forgive me for not going to church today, but I'm so tired and I'm stressed out and I don't know what I'm going to do about raising money. And, you know, I really wanted to raise my bootstrap so that I could at least have a beta testing version of bookingsafrica.com. And that's how my best friend's dad just called me out the blues. And he's like, hi, how are you? I was like, I'm good. He's like, do you know what? I'm at the beach with two girls. One of my friends brought a couple of guests over, and they happen to be, one happens to be a model and one happens to be a makeup artist. And they just keep talking about Bookings Africa, that they signed up to your, my tester website, my one-page website. So 2 out of these 400 people happened to be at my best friend's dad's beach house, and they happened to have a conversation about Bookings Africa, and he overheard them. And they were talking about how excited they were that actually a platform like this is going to launch, and that should actually help improve their career and the exposure that they have. They didn't even know that he knew the owner of Bookings Africa. They didn't even know what Bookings Africa's plan was, but he knew. So he called me up and he said, you know what? How much do you need? 10 million naira? Yeah, I think I can give that to you. So so we then had our own terms and conditions, if I was going to pay it back, how much, blah, 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 blah. So it was like a little loan. So that was the first money that I had. And then I used that to get my chief technology officer to build the first ever version of the website, which went live in Nigeria in April 2019. So exactly 1 year ago, the first version of the website went live in Nigeria. That was in April. Fast forward 6 months later, I'm still now, I started pitching a bit more, and I started pitching using VC4A, because the thing about VC4A, a lot of the venture capitalists would rather invest in a business that's already up and running as opposed to just an idea. Not that many invest in just an idea, because when people invest in an idea, they want to invest in the founder, because they know this person is a hardworking person. So even if the idea doesn't work, they are hardworking to be able to pivot and make the business work. I've already written it, VC4A. Merchandise is asking at www.vc4A. It stands for Venture Capitalist for Africa. That's the website, okay? So back to where I was. I got so after I got the first 10 million naira, built the website, then I continued pitching and sending out pitches through VC4A. I got quite a few people send me responses. And then I happened to have a friend called Patricia, who works for General Electric. So I used to shoot a lot of documentaries for GE, for General Electric. And I hadn't spoken to the head of marketing. She's the head of marketing for GE Africa. I hadn't spoken to her for about 4 years. And I just thought, wow, let me just call Patricia, because I think I saw her post something on LinkedIn. I was like, I haven't spoken to her in years. Let me call her up. Called her up, and I was talking to her about Bookings Africa, and I want to raise funds. Then she then said, have you heard of Platform Capital? And then I said, no, I haven't. And she gave me their contact details. And I met up with the CEO, the founder of Platform Capital. His name is Dr. Akintoye Akindele. And he is literally the biggest SME investor across Africa. I think he's invested in at least 50 businesses. He even just invested in Total in Sierra Leone and Liberia. So he is a big fish in a huge pond. And basically, if you're a VC or in the finance industry anywhere globally, you will know Dr. Akindele. He is literally a force to be reckoned with. And luckily for you guys, he's going to be our guest host tomorrow, our guest speaker rather, tomorrow. So tomorrow, I need you guys to send messages to about 2 of your friends each and ask them all to sign up to info@bookingsafrica.com. Send an email. Everybody that knows Dr. Toye, you do not want to miss out on this. So today, for yesterday and today, I've had 3 speakers. Tomorrow is literally just going to be him. He's going to talk about what you need to put in a pitch deck, the art of pitching, and what investors want to hear. So those are the 3 things. And now I'm going to ask you in advance to bring pen and paper and bring your A game, because this is going to be like an actual tutorial lesson class. I'm taking you back to school. This is not a let's just have a conversation and you tell me what you think about. No. He's going to say point number one, a pitch deck must have A, B, C, D, E. And if you're going to pitch, this is what investors want to hear. You do not want to miss out on this. He charges hundreds of thousands for this, okay? So, or million, sorry, that's in dollars. He charges thousands. So for the fact that he's doing this for free, woo, this is a gem, okay? So back to my story. I then met Dr. Akindele as well as Dr. Kwamile. I met the two of them. I give them my pitch, and straight away he said, yes, I want to invest. And we kind of had like a gentleman's handshake. And then from there, Kwamile and myself started talking about, the terms and conditions and everything. Initially, I wanted about $350,000, but then we ended up bargaining a little bit. And then, yes, I ended up getting about, I got 250 from them plus another 50,000. So that made it about $300,000. So yeah, up to date, I have raised a little bit over $300,000 for Bookings Africa, and that is called your pre-seed round. So next, I'm gonna I wanna raise my seed round. The valuation of my business that I'm looking for right now is a 5 million valuation, which means I want about $1 million for my next round of investment. Let me see. So the way that I did it was literally, I made sure that I understood my business plan and my business model, and I pitched till my lips went numb. I can tell you, I see there's about 4 or 5 different people that I see quite frequently that I've pitched to in the past. And they were one of the first people that I ever pitched to. And when they hear me pitch now, they're like, you are a completely different human being. Like it's not like I wasn't competent or confident, but I didn't know what the investors wanted to hear. I was spending too much time talking about the wrong things rather than focusing on the highlights that make it sellable and attractive for an investor. So everything about how to gain access to, so today's, we're talking about access to finance and how to start with zero and all the things you need to think about. Now that you know, maybe you want to go via a grant, or you want to go to a VC, or you want to go to a bank, you now are equipped with a bit of information as to what you need to do to apply. If you want to apply for a loan with a bank, right, we've given you the accesssmezone.com website. If you want to apply, if you want to go and get a VC, tomorrow you need to learn how to pitch. Now, pitching cuts across a broad spectrum of sectors, because you're not only just pitching if you want funding. You could be a script writer and you want to pitch your film idea. You could be, you can be so many various sectors, and you want to learn how to get your point across about whatever idea that you have is. You need to know how to grasp people's attention. Because imagine you're an investor, your job every day is to listen to people pitch. After a while, if it gets boring, you're just not even going to be like, oh, I've heard you. After the 10th person in a day, you probably wouldn't even remember what they're saying anymore. So you need to make it very engaging. So tomorrow is all about that. Let me read through a couple of comments. Afoke says, honestly, Fade, pre-seed at 300,000 is really good. It better be on the long run, lower business valuation. It's better on the long run, lower. Okay, definitely. I think you were referring to the $1 million. Yes, the business valuation was crazy. Totally loving your journey. That's from Salfa. Thank you, Salfa. My take home is on the resilience, discipline, and the focus on what you wanted. Absolutely. If you don't want it the most, who's going to give it to you? Like, people need to see your hunger and passion. When I can taste somebody's hunger and passion, I know that before this business fails, they would have done everything in their power to keep it afloat, even if they have to sell a toothpick to make sure that they can raise funds to keep their business afloat. I know that I want somebody that I know that is hungry and passionate enough to do it. Which one is better? This is from Michael Obinwizu. Which one is better, getting an investor or getting someone who can co-own the business while putting money, time, and connections? It really all depends on the circumstance. I can't really say which one is better. Like I said, you can get an investor who will put money, time, and connections, and that is the value. Now, let me give you the funny thing, right? Is when I met Dr. Toya and Dr. Kwamile from the Platform Capital Partners, and they gave me investment partners, and they offered me the capital that I needed. That same week that I met them, 2 other companies that I'd applied via VC4A also offered me capital. And then I had to start going back and forth with all 3 of them, saying, what are you offering? What are you offering? What are you offering? Because a lot of the times, entrepreneurs and founders, we think that as soon as somebody offers us money, we've got to say yes. Let me tell you, you do not want to have an investor or a co-founder that you don't get along with. They don't have integrity. You guys don't have the same goals, because short term, you might get your goals, you might reach your goals, but your midterm, long-term goals, it's going to disintegrate, and that will greatly affect the business. So you should always be very, very cautious about who you're going to be attached to in any way, any form. So it doesn't really matter if it's an investor or if it's a co-owner. It's more about the value that they bring in, and also their moral values, and if it aligns with yours as well. You might, so I think these are things to think about when you're trying to get an investor. The investors that I have, they put in time and money and connections more than anybody that I know. If I was even going to get somebody to co-own the business with me, I don't think that the information and the knowledge that I've learned from even learning how to do my financial model, learning how to pitch, learning how to improve my pitch deck and my business plan, all of that was from Platform Capital. If I had just gotten a CTO to be my co-founder, would they be able to give me all that information that I need? So Michael, you've really got to weigh it up. Precious says, God sees all your efforts. He knows how to create a table for you as well as make a way for you in the middle of the wilderness. Amen. All right. So Olua Shimon says, I will not miss tomorrow. Chris Sammy says, done deal. Tomorrow is called Pitch Perfect. Pitch Perfect. We're going to be talking about how to write a pitch deck, the art of pitching, what investors want to hear. Do not miss that. Lola, I've just said that to you again. Now, remember, every day at 9 o'clock on my page, Fade Ogunro on Instagram, and at Bookings Africa on Instagram, we post up everything you need to know about the speakers. So every day we let you know who's going to be speaking and what topics that they're covering. So when we put that up tomorrow, please make sure all the questions that you have for Dr. Toye, make sure you include them in that caption. Make sure you're following Bookings Africa and Fade Ogunro on Instagram. You've got all the hashtags, hashtag Bookings Africa, hashtag Africa Works, hashtag Entrepreneurship 101. Okay, so what investors want to hear? People are saying this is awesome. Halima, please, how much will it cost one to build a quality, effective website? How large is the sky, Halima? It really depends on the functionality of the website. If you just want a one-page website where people just register, it's completely different if you want a website that maybe connects people like an Uber, or are you trying to have a website like an eBay where people can purchase, or like a Jumia? So the more complex the website is, the more costly it's going to be. So I can't really give you one set figure unless you kind of have your elements, the breakdown of and the functionality of what you want your websites to be able to do for the users. Then that you can kind of get a ballpark figure based on that. Adefemi says, what was the major part of that money used for? Oh, I haven't finished using the money, not at all. So the Platform Capital, they give you 50% of your money up front, and then they then see how you're spending it, and then they can then see, you know, if you need to cut costs here. So we constantly analyze, iterate, and improve. So that was used to be able to build an app. That was number one. I used the first batch of the investment that I got in September to be able to build the Bookings Africa app, which launched in November. I was able to hire staff in South Africa, in Kenya, and in Nigeria. Also office and all the office equipment and everything that I might need as well. And then a lot of marketing and also my tech team. So I've got a tech team as well of about 5 guys. So yeah, a team was a large part of it. Rent and salaries is a large part of it. And then also to the marketing, because as a marketer, I have to go to other countries. So flights, accommodation, all of that stuff is being paid for out of the initial investment, because that's what you need for a business to grow. So somebody says, what's my Instagram ID? Fade Ogunro. Emeka, any consideration to organize a capacity building training on how to language a great grant application? On how to, okay, I'm not quite, basically I'm thinking you want to learn how to fill in a grant application. I'll consider it. I think you're better off speaking to Ife, so on AGS Tribe, if you visit AGS Tribe on Instagram. Emeka Ogechi says, thank you, Fade. I've had a great time. It's been enlightening. Your story is inspiring. Thank you. Fumilola says, I wanted to say that I found this session so far to be incredibly rich and informative. Some paid courses do not give this much. I know. I've taken a lot of paid courses, and which is why I thought, you know what, enough with the BS. Let's do this the real way. Let's do this the way it needs to be done, because if I'm going to give information, I actually want you to be able to benefit from it the way that I benefited. I want other people to win. My goal is to get Africa working and to get people to be to whatever passion is that you have in life. You shouldn't just let the fact that you don't have funds to stop you from achieving your true potential. So whatever I can do to help you achieve that goal, because I wish somebody would be able to did that for me, it would have made my journey as an entrepreneur a lot easier and a lot faster. But everything happens for a reason, and I'm now here to tell you to learn from my mistakes, but then also these are the things that worked for me, my success stories, and I'm hoping that influences you. So Fumilala says, thank you. This makes me believe much more about Bookings Africa brand and how you're very interested in the career and well-being of freelancers and small businesses. Absolutely. Sandra says, do I have issues with hiring? I kind of did, but we're having a topic, a whole day about hiring, and that's on Thursday. So Sandra, I will go more into any issues that I have with HR. That is work it out. That is the topic on Thursday. Tomorrow, I'm super excited about Pitch Perfect. Let's see, what's the time? We're about to wrap up in 5 minutes. Can you assist with a consultant that can guide to launch and grow a startup and assure us aggregators? Did you hire the manager immediately you started? So anything with hiring, we're going to talk about on Thursday. DM on Instagram, no problem. Please follow me, Fade Ogunro, follow Bookings Africa. Now, do we have any questions before we go? We have 5 minutes. I want to wrap this up by 5:30. I mean, sorry, I said 5:30, by 7:30. So excellent initiative, Fade. It would be great to set up an alumni network of everyone who's benefited from this course. Okay, we can do that. I had a great time. How long will it take to reach profitability for your business? According to my business plan, I should be breaking even. I've broken even in Nigeria already. So I'm hoping to break even in South Africa and Kenya within the next 1 year. So yeah, I'm hoping by this time next year I would have broken even in all 3 countries. But in Nigeria, I've already broken even, and everything else from here on out is profit. So do I book actors? Not yet. Actors will be booked from May or June. I think end of May, you will be able to start booking actors on our site as well. So yeah, I think that is it. I will put up my social media handle if you guys want to follow me. It is at Fade Ogunro, and of course at Bookings Africa. Remember, tomorrow is called Pitch Perfect, and I cannot shout enough about how amazing Dr. Toye is going to be. Literally, you guys are going to see me with my pen and paper, and you are going to get a masterclass of your life. You are literally, you're going to come out with a PhD in pitching by the time you're done. I kid you not. He is such a great ball of energy. He's a genius. Adefemi says, I experienced him yesterday night. So were you on Ife's live with him? So he was talking about yesterday, Ife from AGS Tribe, who spoke about access to grants. She invited him to have a live session with him. And it was his first time ever on Instagram Live. And he was talking about all the untold stories of failure that he's had to endure that made him the success that he is now. So can we just make this trend online? I would love for you guys to do that. So maybe you can just trend in pitch perfect, maybe hashtag pitch perfect. So yes, pitch perfect with Fade. I think that's the hashtag you can use. And of course, Entrepreneurship 101. Entrepreneurship 101. All right, so yes, Dr. Toye then talked about all the failures that he had to endure over his, I don't know, 30-something year career, and how that has made him the person that he is today. We do have some values in common, which is, you know, I let anything bad that happens to me, or anything that, you know, anything that you might consider a failure, I don't hold it to heart. I just feel, yeah, that was, you know, something for me to learn, or that was just a part of life. Yeah, I feel down for like an hour or two, but I just keep it moving. Like, and that is my motto in life, is just to keep it moving. I don't stay too down for too long. I literally just get going and like, okay, this only means I'm one step closer to getting it right. This only means I'm one step closer to getting to my goals. And I think that he saw that tenacity and that passion in me, which is what also attracted him to also invest in Bookings Africa. Since then, when I pitched to him in September, he's one of the people, I'm sure tomorrow he will tell you how terrible my pitch was in September and how much better it is now, whereby I've gone to Lisbon and I've pitched at the Web Summit. I've gone to San Francisco, Silicon Valley, and I've pitched there. And I've also got offers in people in Mexico and in Silicon Valley that want to invest in Bookings Africa. And also tomorrow, I will also send you a link. I went to San Francisco last year and I was part of a pitching competition. So I will actually send you that link where you can watch like 4 or 5 different people pitch. And these are professional people pitching for millions of dollars. I was pitching for $1 million. Another guy was pitching for $10 million. So this is not like we just want 100K. So you got to know that these pitches were serious, and they literally gave us 10 minutes. There's a timer, and it says, and there was an international board, one of the first ever men that sponsored, that invested in Apple. His name is Jack Russo. He's a lawyer, Jack Russo. He's a guru in the Silicon Valley space. He was also one of the judges. And out of everybody's pitch, he told me that he liked mine the best. And he pulled me aside, and the following day, he invited me to have a podcast with him, just because that was one of the benefits of having a very good pitch. Apart from potentially getting access to money, I also got free marketing on his podcast, which is specifically for investors in the Bay Area in San Francisco. So just to show you that, yes, I'm not asking you guys to do anything that I haven't done myself. When it comes to business plans, business model, route to market, access to finance, how writing a pitch, your pitch deck, everything, I have had to go through these exact same steps. And if you do follow these steps, I'm telling you, even if straight away you don't get an investor, eventually you will. Remember, it took me 30 no's in a year and a half to get about $50,000. So, sorry, it took me that $300,000, sorry, a year and a half. So please, let's get Pitch Perfect with Fade trending. 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, we will post it up on our Instagram page, and 3 p.m. you will be getting the new Zoom link. Please refer a friend. Tomorrow is going to be an amazing session. And remember that over the weekend, by Saturday, we will be sending everybody the minutes of the meeting and of next week. And from next week, we'll also have daily videos put up on our YouTube channel as well. And we will email everyone the link as well. So on that note, I think it's about to say good night to everyone. I've got one more question. please share my infancy pitch days and the pitch perfect you. I don't even think I have a recording of myself when I first started pitching. But I do have recordings of myself as a much more professional pitcher. Fatumi B, how can you be my mentor? Good night, good night, good night. Well done, Fade. Your story is so inspiring. Thank you so much. I appreciate the session. Lovely. All right, guys. I think it's time for me to love you guys and leave you. I will be here again 5 o'clock tomorrow. Make sure you follow me on social media. And if you have any more questions, feel free to send me a DM on IG or on LinkedIn, or you can simply email fade@bookingsafrica.com. Also, remember that minutes of the meeting and all our guest contacts will be shared in the minutes of the meeting, which will be on Friday, and from next week on YouTube will be the video. Remember that we're also going to send out we're also going to send out a survey at the end of this. We're going to email you a survey, so please feel free. I would really, really appreciate if you answer the survey, because that lets us know if you're finding it informative, if you want us to change anything, if there's something that we're doing wrong that we can improve. I really want to make sure that you guys benefit, and the only way that I can do that is to get feedback from you. So please do respond to the survey that you get. I'd really appreciate that, and I'll catch you tomorrow. And my battery is about to die. So any more questions, email, DM me. I got you. Bye, guys.